I will go ahead and show you guys how to start slicing some of our other veggies. First thing first, slicing these veggies is going to take some time. So there's a few different options. What I'm going to show you today is how to do it with a knife in case that's the only tool you have. You can also use a mandolin, which is a blade where you move it back and forth like this, the vegetable, and it will slice it for you. You can set the thickness. Something cool that my dad has is he actually has a food processor. This thing is crazy. You just feed the vegetable through the blade and it will cut it like that, no problem. You'll be done in a matter of minutes with all your veggies. So if you have that, by all means use it. But what I'll show you today is, in case you don't have those things, I'll show you how to slice them. I'll show you guys how to hold your blade. So this here, again, is a good chef's knife, but it also means it's very, very sharp. So whenever you're working with a knife, be sure you don't cut yourself. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to hold the base of the blade with your thumb and with your index finger, and that just lets you to have a little better control over the blade as you're slicing. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the ends off of our green zucchini. And don't throw these out. We're going to save these, all of the ends and all the bits, for our sauce later. So we'll actually use that stem, no problem, in there. And then you're going to curl your fingers over on the edge of the zucchini, and you're just going to make little tiny slices. And if you have any pieces like this that didn't quite get sliced all the way through, just go ahead and put those with your stems, and again, we'll use all of those scraps in our sauce.
Okay, so if you are intimidated of cutting your veggies into really thin slices like this, another thing you can do is just cut them into fourths long ways. So you'll have 4 long strips, and then cut them into bigger chunks, kind of half-inch chunks, if you will. And we'll just prepare your ratatouille more like a stew, rather than the way that Remy the rat does, where he does these thin slices and then circles them around in a pan.
Alright guys, so one thing I will mention about our yellow zucchini here is that, as you can see, it's a little different shape than our green zucchini. It gets thicker on one side, thinner on the other, and you notice if we cut a little slice from this end, that will be quite a bit smaller than our green zucchini. And so I'm going to actually be a little bit picky about the portion that I use for our slices. I'm going to keep kind of this section, cut as much as I can from there, and then some of these smaller pieces I'll just go ahead and save for our sauce. So you're either going to want a really sharp knife, again for this, so this is a chef's knife, very, very sharp. It will slice right through paper, so be very, very careful. Or if you don't have a really sharp knife like that, go ahead and use a serrated knife, and you'll use a sawing motion to cut through it. But all I'm going to do with this guy is cut off the end. I'll throw that in our scrap bowl. And then again, I'm going to keep my fingers curled a little bit, use my knuckles as a guide, and just very carefully get those thin slices of tomato. So I'm not taking that too far down, I'm just going to take that whole end, put it in our scrap bowl, and that's going straight to the sauce. And I have a pan here. These are really delicate, so I'm just putting them in their own pan. For our mise en place preparation, and just like that we'll keep slicing tomatoes. Alrighty, so we have all of our tomatoes cut, we have the tomato slices, we have the scraps, and now we're just going to keep cutting the rest of our veggies. Next up on the list of things to cut is eggplant. And what I'm going to do to try and make it more of the size of our zucchini is I'm actually going to cut it in fourths before I chop it. So that's why I only have about 1 eggplant. And yeah, we'll just cut it in fourths. I like to add potatoes. So this recipe that I'm showing you is a little bit of a variation where I'm actually going to have potatoes and bacon.